get into it real quick, here's the basic PNP with a border around it that I did with the Adobe titling system. It's a nested sequence. That's the only reason I clicked on this, and I'll click out of it real quick. Once it's nested, you can actually flip, rotate it, put it anywhere on the screen you want, and they'll stay stuck together. It's pretty much real time. There's no drag to it. If there is, it's probably less than 16th of a second. I notice it's not in high quality, and made the switch. Probably won't come through on YouTube, but it should actually look a little bit better here. I can also spin, like I said, flip, rotate it. Here we're in the actual titler. You can do quite a lot with the Adobe titler. It's like almost having like Photoshop, basically. You can bring in images, texture maps, whatever you actually want to bring in to make it look a little bit better. There's a slight drag, as you can see on it. It's not even a half a second though, but just to be able to see it on the NTSC monitor makes it easier for you and the client. You know, he's not looking at some little 1/8" screen. If you look at the red rectangle that came up, you can manipulate it, using those parameter controls rather than just freeform dragging it, make it real precise. Here it is actually in the timeline showing you that what we did came through. Here's an After Effects composition. I didn't have things set up 100% correct when I did it. This really isn't a tutorial. It's just to show you that you can use the NTSC monitor to make your editing experience a little bit more easier. I didn't have it set to output to the NTSC monitor, which I later click on and it does, and we switch it to green. And I still didn't actually have it set to actually output all my changes to the NTSC monitor in real time. But it will. It'll actually preview the RAM to the NTSC monitor if you set it up right. But I'm not too worried that it didn't come through. Here you see right as soon as I click it, it's right in Premiere from After Effects, and the changes took, which is kind of nice. We're actually going to real quick go into the project bin where that little rectangle is, and I can actually just tab through with the arrow keys, hit the space bar, and play the clips rather than have to bring it to the source monitor first, which is really easy to weed through clips that you want and don't want. If you see a part on the clip that you really want to save, you can actually click it and have it actually poster that actual clip to the actual clip that's in the bin. It's a nice way to edit. You can do things really quick. Just click on it, hit play. I can't really express that enough. And your client will love it to see it on the NTSC monitor as you do it. We're going to the titler again, not to be redundant, but I just thought the Avid, looked a little bit too dark. I didn't think it would come up on YouTube. But for the Vegas editors, the Final Cut Pro editors, if you want to show us how your titler works and can do lower thirds and output to the NTSC monitor, I'm sure, post it, as a link, I'd like to see how well it works. I'm not saying, Premiere's the best. I just kind of like the way the GUI works and everything. This actually plays really super smooth because it's an NTSC project setting, and using the converter, it's just smooth as glass. There is no jitter. And I know Final Cut Pro, if you use a VGA monitor, it'll jitter like crap putting text or anything like that, or a PNP with fast motion. It'll jitter up the wazoo. This is actually something I did for the internet, for part of a job interview. It's output to the NTSC monitor as well as the VGA screen. It's actually 800 by 480. You can do any aspect ratio you want and output it out. You can customize it. You're seeing something that looks like Kool-Aid. You can actually see the water, the reflection actually looks a little bit bluish, which is what you want because it was blue tiles around there. It's not really to highlight my composition skills or anything. It's just showing that, yeah, you can get some pretty decent real time on a little cheap $600 computer. That is actually what my computer costed to assemble. Like I said, I don't want you, mocking the composition or anything like that. That's not the goal of this. I wouldn't ever make anything like this gaudy for a client. What we have here is 4 PNPs and a transition right on top of it. It's HDV in a P2 format, in a P2 project. So, and if this is all we could get in real time, that's still quite a lot of real time. A PNP with a transition with color correction. PNPs will look smooth as long as the motion's not too quick. That's the only thing about using a converter box, because you're restricted by the 720 by 480. You don't get the full HD aspect. That looks smooth. As it slides across, it might have looked a little bit jerky. Like I said, we're not getting full HD resolution. Here's just a little bit more showing what the real time is, and it will look really smooth as glass, as long as it's not too fast, the text or a PNP. And here we're actually going to try and go up, and we're editing AVC HD footage. As you can tell, the aspect ratio isn't right. We need it to actually match what's in the VGA screen. It's in draft quality. We can actually add any filter. I took a proc amp, and it'll actually correct itself. And you can actually edit, in draft quality if you had a lower speed processor. But with a quad core, there's no real reason to edit draft mode and put a filter on it. You can actually just go into high quality, and we can, pretty much edit, cut, paste, scrub through, tab through, page up, page down, to go from clip to clip, and it's pretty responsive. You can't really add effects to it. Your best bet is to, edit the footage in the sequence in the order you want it, and later add effects to it. It doesn't quite have enough horsepower to actually add effects and stuff like that to it and play it in real time. But to edit native AVC HD is a real promise, on a cheap $600 computer. Here I'm actually just going through clips, just tabbing, using the arrow keys and hitting space bars. So you can see the AVC HD doesn't output correctly. Same with this footage, you can't really tell, but it's kind of squinched up. But any other footage like HDV, P2, or DV footage would actually output fine. I don't really consider it a real problem with Premiere. The fact that it can edit AVC HD is a real plus. This eye might look a little bit jerky on YouTube. You can just put stuff that's in high quality to draft quality, and it'll fix that problem. If it bothers you in the editing process, same with this JPEG, put it in draft quality, it fixes it. However, if the actual video clip has interlacing issues, then you would actually want to right click it, go into field options, and deinterlace, and it'll make that look fine as well. That's only if it bothers you. It really doesn't bother me. I can just add PMPs and do what I want without any problem. The Edius software by Canobus can actually pause on odd frames or even frames, and you won't get that when you stop, in between fields. But this is native, DV footage, and it looks really smooth using the converter box. This is what it was designed for. Here's Windows Movie Maker. Not really a bad software program to just come with Windows. You have to understand there's programs by Pinnacle, also by ULEAD, and even Sony has an alternative to Vegas. It's like $100 or less. So, Windows doesn't want Movie Maker to really put competition on that. I wouldn't expect it to have color correction, high-end secondary color correction or chroma key. The DV converter I got came with ULEAD free with it, and for $20 more, you could have got Premiere Elements with it. So, there's ways to get, software for free.